Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Snuggles and Storytime. My name's Amanda, and I'm glad that you could join me today. Today, I have a kind of scary story. It's going to be a great one. But before we get to our story, let's put our hands up to say hello. Are you ready to join me? Here we go. Hello, all my friends, how are you? Hello, all my friends, how are you? With the jiggle, 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 and a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Hello, all my friends, how are you? Today, I have a story about a teacher that disappears and goes missing. Has your teacher ever disappeared? Maybe they were sick one day, or maybe they went on vacation. But in today's story, the teacher disappears, and they disappear because the kids were very, very naughty. Our story is called Miss Nelson is Missing. It's a great one. It's written by Harry Allard and James Marshall. Are you ready? Let's check it out. Here we go. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Do you see them up there? Spitballs are little pieces of paper that you roll up and you cover with your spit and you stick them up there by spitting. Gross, right? Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. They look naughty. Now settle down, said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and they giggled. They squirmed and they made faces. They were even rude during story hour. What is she doing that's rude? She's standing on her head. That is not safe. They always refuse to do their lessons. Something will have to be done, said Miss Nelson. Sounds like she's kind of disappointed or sad. That's what I think. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. Wow! Yelled the kids. Now we can really act up. They began to make more spitballs and paper airplanes. Today, let's be terrible, they said. Not so fast, said a very unpleasant voice. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp. And she rapped the desk with a ruler. So rapping is kind of when you hit it. So you hit it fast with a ruler. Where's Miss Nelson? Asked the kids. Never mind, snapped Miss Viola Swamp. Open those arithmetic books. Miss Nelson's kids did just as they were told. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. They're not acting silly and sassy for Miss Swamp. We will have no story hour today, said Miss Swamp. Keep your mouth shut, said Miss Swamp. Sit still, perfectly still, said Miss Swamp. And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry, said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by, and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. Maybe we should try to find her, they said. And some of them even went to the police. So here it says police station. Detective Miss McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmog would not be much help. They already knew she was missing, right? The other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. They got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a bunch of sharks, said one kid. But that didn't seem very likely. Do you think she was eaten by sharks? I'm going to guess not. But I could be wrong. Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid. But that didn't seem very likely either. Do you think she went to Mars? I would guess not. I know, exclaimed the know-it-all kid. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies. But that seemed least likely of all. Because butterflies aren't strong enough to carry a car. And angry butterflies? I've never seen an angry butterfly. Have you? The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. Here comes the witch, they whispered. Hello, children, someone said in a sweet voice. What do you think it was? It was Miss Nelson. Did you miss me? She asked. We certainly did, cried all the kids. Where were you? Oh, it's my little secret, said Miss Nelson. How about a story hour? Oh, yes, said the kids. Miss Nelson noticed during story hour no one was rude or silly. What brought about this lovely change, she asked. That's our little secret, said the kids. So now they're behaving nice. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell, I'll never tell, she said with a smile. An ugly black dress is in her closet? P.S. Detective McSmog is working on a new case. Now he is looking for Miss Viola Swamp. The end. Now, where do you think Miss Nelson was? Do you think Miss Nelson and Miss Viola Swamp are the same person and she was pretending? Do you think she went on a vacation? I don't know. The story doesn't tell us, but I wonder that clue about hanging up your coat next to a black dress, I wonder if that's trying to tell us a hint that maybe they were. I don't know. We'll have to find out in the next book. Have a great day, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.